This might look like a regular home, but as we pull out our shot, you'll notice I'm standing in a laneway, and this is a laneway home. Now, laneway homes or laneway suites have been a buzzword in our city for many years, from city planners, from city councilors, trumpeting these homes in laneways like this one right here near College and Bathurst as a possible solution to affordability when it comes to affordable housing in Toronto. Though, if you want to build a laneway house, replace your garage with a 1 or 2 story suite, you're likely still getting rejected.
We knew that we had a good project, but we knew that there were a lot of challenges and that planning staff was against it, the councillor was against it, the immediate neighbors were against it. But we still went in there and we wanted to start the discussion about laneway houses. They're inevitable, and even the committee members were aware of that this is going to happen in the city. It's just a matter of what is that going to look like.
The proposal was turned down yesterday at the Committee of Adjustment. In a letter, Councillor Cesar Palacio noted, "I do support the concept of laneway housing." He goes on to say, "The granting of these variances will set the precedent on McKay Avenue that could lead to similar requests that will cause further incompatibility issues." It's a project that had been in the works for years. Architect Gabriel Fain and his client scaled down their proposal, completing lengthy shadow studies and providing laneway precedents. But it's still a no-go, largely because Toronto doesn't have guidelines for laneway homes, and that is something that some city councillors have been trying to change.
We don't want to see this happen where people have to spend this kind of money, wait this long, and go to Committee of Adjustment only to be rejected.
The developer, the architect, their feeling is the councillor here was acting because pretty much everyone in the neighborhood didn't like the idea.
Which I would say that there needs to be a serious education on what laneway suites are, and that we're not severing any lots, we're not selling them off. They are your neighbors who just want to stay in their homes.
Now in Vancouver, 1/5 of that entire city's rental market comes from laneway homes like these here right behind me. And in my hand is Vancouver's guidelines for building laneway homes. Though, as you mentioned, we don't have anything like this in the city of Toronto, though there is something coming down the pipe at planning, which could mean big changes in the coming months.
There was a group called Lanescape that partnered up with Evergreen, and they've done a study working with us, cooperatively with councillors and city staff, on looking at what they're calling laneway suites. And the idea is that people could put a secondary suite at the back of their house on a laneway, provided it met certain performance criteria. And they serve a lot of functions. They provide service, they provide access to parking, particularly in the downtown. They're really fundamental for providing access to the rear properties. So we're going to have to make sure we balance that out and don't compromise some of the services they're already providing.
Now, the planning study will be going back to City Council sometime in early 2018. Now, one thing's for sure, there is plenty of real estate or potential for real estate growth in the city of Toronto. There are about 2,400 publicly owned laneways like the one I'm standing in right now, which equals about 250 kilometers of potential growth. And with many searching for affordable housing options in Toronto, this seems like a real bargain. A space that sleeps up to 3 people for $350 a month. But there's a major catch. You'd be living in a motorhome. Is this even legal? Find out later in the show. Ah, yes, it sounds like a great deal. At Craigslist, posting for a city dwelling at a low price. Just $355 a month. It sleeps 3 people. And there are lots of shops and restaurants nearby. But here's the catch. The ad is actually for a motorhome park downtown near U of T's downtown campus. And if you're thinking of taking the owner up on that offer, there's one important piece of information you should know. It's illegal.
It's a very creative entrepreneur type of approach to things, but it's not permitted use in the city. You can't use a motor vehicle or recreational vehicle for living accommodation. So our zoning bylaw strictly prohibits that use, as well as there's other living standards that we apply through property standards, minimum room sizes, having available potable water, washrooms. So a motor home like this would not meet those requirements either.
Do you hear some really creative, out-of-the-box things, you know, with people trying to find different ways to make income and rent out spaces in and around their homes?
We saw there was an ad a while ago for somebody showing a tree house for on Airbnb for a rental. And then I remember seeing on the news even one about an individual who's renting out the back of their SUV.
You remember our story?
Yes, yes. So I'd say those are the most creative so far.
Now, one of the other issues with the motorhome is it doesn't come with a shower. Hope you're okay with that. Now, Mark Schraga, who we just heard from there from Municipal License and Standards, says his department is currently working to look at changing the residential rental bylaw in the City of Toronto to give homeowners more legal room to rent out different spaces in their home. They hope to have some of that information for us in the new year.